finding capacity when there is none. Talk of my conversation today with Bill Catania. He is CEO of OneRail. Hi, Bill.
How are you, Bob?
Good. Thank you for being with me today. What would you say is the root cause of the truck capacity shortage?
Well, the root cause is certainly an increase in demand, and it's a little bit of a trick question, finding capacity when there is none, because the reality is that there is capacity. You know, we at OneRail work a lot with private fleets, own fleets, and we haven't found too many that are utilized better than 30%. It really comes back to an inefficiency of how the assets are being utilized.
Wow, mismatch then is the problem, not lack of.
That's right, it's mismatch, it's underutilized. When we start talking about third-party couriers and a lack of capacity, that gets back to a lack of optimization, because if you think about the shortage, right, demand is up, so usage is up. There's a need to consume more supply of couriers. There's a greater, whether it be a Prius all the way up through a box truck or even LTL or FTL, the supply shortage doesn't really know a mode, right? It's mode agnostic. But what we're finding is a lot of the shippers that are out there have models that are a bit antiquated, where they've taken a zip code and they've said, this zip code equals this courier, and this zip code equals this courier. So it's a one-to-one, I call it a single point of failure.
Yeah.
And so it's really just a total lack of having an optimization engine and a deep bench, if you will, a depth of couriers, that if this courier doesn't have capacity in this zip code, it can roll over to courier number 2, courier number 3, courier number 4, courier number 10. Right. And that doesn't exist in most cases.
You described it as a bit outdated. Maybe you were understating the problem when you used that word.
Yeah, it's hardwired. You know, you're hardwiring essentially capacity instead of having flexibility and dynamic capacity.
How interesting. So when capacity does fall short for whatever reason, how can shippers offset the toll that it takes on customer loyalty?
So it's about being preventive, Bob. It's instead of reactive. If you're reactive, you just pay more, and you try to be the highest bidder. Right. And that's not sustainable, it's not scalable. Preventive approach means you're investing in technology, you're investing in people. You know, we're seeing a lot of shippers invest heavily to bring supply chain experts into their companies to help them really improve. You're seeing retailers acquire logistics companies.
Right.
You know, and so that's a preventive approach, you know, to solving the problem, instead of just paying more. You know, it's investing in technology, it's investing in people, to find new and better ways.
Because customer loyalty is at stake, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Customers are unforgiving.
Absolutely.
They blame the brand and the seller and the retailer, and not the logistics provider or the parcel deliverer.
100%.
Yeah.
We did a survey, we found 95% of customers blame the shipper, not the courier.
They might not even know who the courier is. You know,
that's right.
It just shows up on their doorstep. They don't know who brought it.
Right.
Other than the brand brought it and messed up.
Exactly.
Yeah. And yet, so I'm trying to just picture these couriers running around with all this empty space. You know?
So it's not as much of a problem of empty space with the couriers, as much as it is a problem with own fleets. So we find that there's a lot of own fleets, private fleets, that are really not optimizing their capacity. And so as we look across all these different shippers in retail and in wholesale product distribution and even the supply chain itself, healthcare, we're seeing an opportunity for shippers to work together more and share their fleets. I think P44 is doing something exciting with kind of interoperability and a co-op of different private fleets that can share capacity. So I think you're going to see shippers partner more in how they can drive that utilization up.
In addition to that, are there other ways that shippers can be more nimble with regard to solving some of these capacity issues? What else can they do?
Well, I think they can set expectations with their customers. You know, most customers, if given the opportunity, they may not choose same day, they may choose next day. And so there's been a bit of research around that customers, as long as there's an expectation that's set, they're willing to wait for their package, they're willing to pay less if they know it's going to be on time. And
that's the key.
And that's there's this fallacy that, and I think a lot of these kind of instant grocery delivery platforms are driving some mania around 15-minute delivery and all this. That's really not the customer expectation by and large. You know, it is for certain customer segments, but by and large, customers want predictability. They want to know that they don't have to take 4 hours off from work to sit and wait for a courier. They want definite time. They want to know they're going to get They want to know the promise is going to be
Well,
fulfilled.
they also want to know the visibility of the package in transit.
Exactly.
When did it leave this facility? When did it go to this facility? When did it get on the truck? Is it out for delivery today? That kind of thing. Isn't that important to know?
It is. When my previous company had a chance to work with the former CFO of Domino's Pizza, and he was instrumental in developing the pizza tracker. And he told,
interesting.
His name is David Mounts, and he told me the reason they developed the pizza tracker, they did a lot of research, and this was early days of e-commerce. At 20 minutes, the customer went sideways. Because if they would place their order, and at 20 minutes, if they didn't have visibility, they'd start thinking they never got my order. Where's the pizza delivery guy? Is my pizza even ordered? And so by developing the pizza tracker, they put all those concerns to rest. They limited the phone calls into the Domino's location. You know, it's funny that a pizza company was so far ahead of the game, right?
Yeah, and in fact, you aren't talking about pizza when we're talking about willing to wait a couple of days. No one's waiting a couple of days for a pizza, but they're certainly waiting a couple of days for, you know, consumer goods of many different kinds, as long as they know it's on the way and
it's
where it is.
expectations, and visibility.
That's great, great solution to a nagging problem.
Right.
So finding capacity when there is none, there is. Just a question of how we can make it more available, right?
It can be fragmented, and that's really where the problem is. You may have a parcel that needs to be delivered or a package in a certain market, and there may be 20 providers that a shipper has onboarded, and it's really it's a total guess as to which ones have capacity or not. And that's why technology is the solution. It's the root cause
Bill,
solution.
thank you for that unique insight. Really interesting conversation. But can we take a moment to pivot a little bit and tell me about OneRail itself? Where do you guys fit into the picture today? How are you serving your customers at these extremely challenging times?
Yeah, so it's a combination of technology. It's a combination of technology coupled with capacity. And then ultimately people that manage that whole process. So what we did is we aggregated around 9 million drivers across 400 delivery companies. Wow. So in, let's say, Chicago, there may be a delivery that's a 1 hour delivery, and we dispatch that to one of our couriers that's in our network. And if that courier doesn't accept within a minute, it goes to the next courier and then the next courier. So having redundancy, picture 20 couriers that could do that delivery, and having the ability at any one time to know that any one of those 20 could do it. Maybe 15 of them could do it. 5 of them can't do it. Much better than that static kind of hardwired approach where a zip code equals a courier.
Sure.
In this case, a zip code equals an array of couriers. So we guarantee filled order. We guarantee successful delivery because of that model.
Great. Well, Bill, once again, thank you so much for a fascinating conversation about whether or not there actually is truck capacity out there, and then a little bit about OneRail itself. Thanks for being with me today. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Bob. I appreciate it.
Well, that was Bill Catania of OneRail. Thank you very much for watching.